It's time for you guys to quarantine yourselves for the next 31 days because we have got the month of horror.
31 days of horror coming to Fog Entertainment, guys. We're starting off October 1st with a quarantine film review, movie review, and this is exactly why you should get vaccinated, or else you might end up like these guys.
You very well could, and this movie came out in 2008. It is a horror thriller, has a run time of 1 hour and 29 minutes, and the description reads: Angela, a reporter, and Scott, her cameraman, are confined in a building quarantined by the CDC. Trouble ensues when the humans in it turn into zombies after getting infected by a virus.
Virus that turns out to be similar to rabies. And what I really liked about this film was it was basically shot first person.
Yep.
With the cameraman. So basically every single shot of this film was through the lens of the cameraman. So there was just like no wide shots, no like overhead shots, nothing like that. Every shot you seen was literally just the cameraman's camera. And I thought that was unique because you don't really see any films like that. Plus, I think it did add to the horror. And of course, them being inside like a apartment, where you've got like confined spaces. I like that. I think that more horror movies need to be like that, where it's like first person and you're in confined spaces and it's tight and there's not a lot of places to run to and escape to. I think that definitely added to the movie.
Yep, it is a unique concept, but we've got to bear in mind it is a play on the original movie Wreck.
Alright, but then we could argue that Wreck's a unique concept.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So technically,
yeah, I know, but
it's the American version, it's the English version of Wreck.
This is not trying to be another film altogether. It's like a remake of the Spanish. You know what I mean? It's not like they're completely disregarding Wreck.
No, they're not. It was directed by John Eric Dowdle. Never heard of this guy. What do you think of him?
Well, I liked it, so who knows? Maybe I'll check out more of his movies.
It was produced as well by Sergio Aguero. Was it the Manchester City forward? Something tells me it's not, and it did get.
Well, if it was, he scored a goal here.
He did. It was a hat trick, but it wasn't a hat trick according to IDMB. Because it got a 5.9 out of 10.
I wouldn't listen to IDMB guys because they tend to rate horror movies really low. If you'll never see a horror movie get like a rating above a 9. It just doesn't happen.
No.
I don't know why, but for some reason they just.
And they've also got a habit, right, of doesn't matter what TV show. If that TV show's considered great, every episode will get a great rating. I think.
Yeah, even a shite episode that's on a great TV series will still get a great rating. Anyway, let's get into the movie. So, on the evening of March 11, 2008, news reporter Angela Vidal, that is the main character, and her cameraman, Scott Percival, are filming their report on the night shift at the Los Angeles Fire Department. So, the night shift, I'm assuming, is some TV series where they do like live documentaries, and tonight they happen to be doing a documentary on the fire department in Los Angeles. Now, Angela Vidal is played by Jennifer Carpenter, who you might know from Dexter. Alright, Deborah Morgan.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in this movie, actually, that are in a lot of previous things. It's a well-seasoned cast, I'll go with that.
It's a well-seasoned cast. They introduce us to two firefighters, Jake and George Fletcher, and they're basically showing the ropes, they're showing everything that you do in the fire station, like on the night shift, like where you eat, where you sleep, where you train, where you can play games, everything and anything. We even see someone's big fireman's hose in the showers, so that put a whole new term on fireman's hose. But no, after a while, there is an emergency call from a local apartment building, and if they get suited and booted, slide down the fireman pole and into the fire engine they go. And I don't know, but looking at this movie, being a firefighter seems pretty fun. Apart from when you're not getting a call.
The imminent danger, I guess. And also, like, there will be a lot of time you are just sitting there waiting for something to happen. But I guess you don't really want anything to happen.
Now, they say that when you're sleeping, within under a minute, you need to get from being asleep to into the fire truck. And I tell you what, that's pretty good going, like.
But that's the response time you'd need to be.
I don't think I could go to bed in 1 minute, never mind out of bed and into
yeah,
the fire
I'm not
truck.
saying a fire pole's not necessary, but is it necessary? It just seems like a gimmick, doesn't it?
I could save you vital seconds, though.
Yeah, but you've got to bear in mind, you've got to get like 10 people down it. I think 10 people could get down a small flight of stairs quicker than they could get down a pole.
Do you need to get 10 people down it? Where have you pulled that one for?
We'll say there's 2 fire trucks, probably 5 people in each.
I wonder if anyone's...
We'll say it's a massive fucking fire, right? And 25 people need to get down this pole. It's going to end up like a squish.
I wonder if anyone's ever hurt themselves going down a fire pole. I'd be willing to bet someone's snapped an ankle or something.
Yeah. Rope burn or friction burn or something.
Yeah. So they get to the local apartment. There's police there as well. We hear screams from one of the elderly residents. So the firemen and the police officers, who I believe they were called Danny and James. Now, Danny was played by Columbus Short, and I don't know why, but that's just a funny name if you ask me. Columbus Short.
It's not quite Christopher Columbus, is it?
No, it's not quite Christopher Columbus, but it's a decent name nonetheless. They go up to Mrs. Espinosa's apartment, and she's just kind of like standing there covered in blood. They're wondering where the blood's coming from. She's just looking weird, you know. If it was me, I'd have probably been right, let's close this fucking door. But they want to take her downstairs. Obviously, they've got a duty to help. They want to make sure she's okay. But she's not okay, and she charges at them, and she ends up biting into the neck of James. The rest of them try to pin her down. I mean, it's taken 4 men here to try and pin down some old woman. What the hell is going on here? Then we get George. He has to just pin her down while Danny and Jake take the injured guy downstairs. He's bleeding out. Thankfully, though, downstairs with the residents, they're all in like the hallway, and there is a doctor or a vet even. So he's gonna have a look.
He's by the name of Lawrence, played by Greg German. I've heard of this guy. I've seen this guy before, but I could not put my finger where he's been.
Well, it's time for Lawrence to step up because he is going to try and save the life of police officer 1 James. Obviously, his neck's not in good shape after having a big chunk taken out of it. There's a lot of commotion. The residents are panicking. We don't know what the hell is happening. We can see outside they've been like cordoned off, so now they're trapped inside the building, the apartment. No one can get out. It's like, what the hell is happening here? We need to try and find a way out. They're going to go out the back and see if there's a way out there because they need to try and get James some medical attention. But then out of nowhere, George just flies off the balcony and crashes at the bottom of the floor. Shitload of blood everywhere. And surprisingly, he didn't die. I mean, I thought this guy was dead. Normally when you land like that from that sort of height and your head kind of makes a collision. Now, he did get... I think he snapped his leg.
Yeah, he snapped his leg. But on first viewing, it looked like a broken neck. Like the blood all around his head. It did not look... Like, obviously, yes, it is a broken leg, but if the blood's all around his head, you think, right, well, that is dead.
Well, I mean, Lawrence says no, he's still got a pulse, but this guy's a vet, so maybe he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Well, that is true, like, but I honestly think at this point, it's almost like, here, we've got to put this guy down if we can't get out of this building. I know it's not like, Walking Dead 10 years in, but keeping this guy alive at this point is almost brutal if you cannot get any medical attention.
Well, hold on, they don't know how long they're not going to be able to get help for.
Yeah.
They're hardly going to put the guy down.
No, I know, but realistically, if they can't get help for a prolonged period of time, what can they do for George?
Are you a doctor all of a sudden?
No, I'm not a doctor. That's why Lawrence is more qualified than me. He said he's got a pulse. If it was me, I'd have fucking shot him. Point blank range.
Well, good job you're not in this.
Yeah, well, no, what do you mean good job? If I put George down, that'd been one less.
Aye, well, you know what? They didn't. I suppose they didn't feel the need to put down some guy that had just fallen off a balcony. How did they know he'd been bitten and about to turn into some fucking monstrous, bloodthirsty...
They didn't, and I'm very trigger happy, it seems. But pretty much after this point, we are introduced to a whole host of new characters that are in the building, aren't we?
Yeah, all the characters from the building, the apartment, they all have to come downstairs and they all regroup down there. So we get introduced to a bunch of people. I didn't really think any of the characters that they brought down were interesting. There was a family from Africa that couldn't speak any English.
I understand this is protocol, but this is probably the worst thing you could have done. Obviously, it was kind of unknown at this point, but if everyone just stays locked in their apartments, this situation does not spiral out of control, in my opinion.
Yeah, now, I believe the drunk guy was called... There was a drunk guy called... I think his name might have been Randy. And he made a point saying, well, we're all sick. shouldn't we be splitting up? Why are you keeping us all down here together?
Enforce the masks.
And at this point, I thought, well, you know what?
Randy's got a point.
Randy might be a dick and he might be, intoxicated here, but he's actually making a good point. If they are all sick and possibly infected with something, like, why are they all being confined to the small space downstairs? It's like, maybe be safer in our rooms.
And this ain't a flu. They already know at this point something a wee bit crazy's going on here. So yeah, Randy brings out a good point, intoxicated, and the rest of them just aren't willing to listen. They think he's being completely irrational here.
And I think the guy made a point. They then go upstairs and they try to get Mrs. Espinosa to calm down, but I mean it's not happening. They're about to get attacked by her again, and Danny shoots her. He's a bit panicked because he thinks maybe I shouldn't have done that. But Jake's like, no, you done the right thing there. She was coming at you. I've got your back.
No, he did. The housekeeper also kind of just like fell to the ground, but just before that. So what was she? Where was she the whole time though? Previously, she literally just spawned in that room. But regardless of this cleaner put down a tactical insertion to spawn like you would in Modern Warfare 2, she's dead. So it's kind of irrelevant, right? Then there is numerous attempts of trying to escape the building. There's like, no, the back door, the windows, but each time is greeted with the CDC. Fuck yourself, you're not getting out.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
No, it does not look good, and I think at this point you would realise that you're fucked and that something serious is happening here, and I think each person that is showing symptoms of this crazy virus needs to be fucking dealt with. And not like, are you okay? Let me check on you. No, it should be fucking bang, bang, good night.
Yeah, but we live in the real world here, right? Not fantasy world where you can't just fucking kill people.
No, we live in the real world, right? I don't get why in certain movies, why they can't be like, here, we've all seen zombie movies, this is kind of a bit similar to that. I think common sense has to prevail at times. I think so. I'm not saying drop them, but what Randy said...
You literally did just say drop them.
Yeah, it was a joke, right? It was a wee innuendo. The point is, he's like, here, we should split up. I think if you're showing symptoms, then you should all stay in the lobby. But if you're feeling good, if you don't need the booster, if you don't need the jag, then you go back to your apartment and you turn on Donald Trump. No?
I disagree. Why not just put everyone that's shown symptoms in an apartment? Lock them in.
Yeah, actually, that's better than the lobby, because then I guess if any of them turn, they're confined to the one room.
Yeah, rather than roaming free about the apartment. Like, I don't understand that. Like,
true, but then what if one of them turns and everyone in there that might just be showing similar symptoms is dead? Then
you lock everyone in an individual apartment then? Individual room?
Well, that's what should have been done, but it wasn't done. I think you've got to question what the guys were doing here, but I know, bear in mind it was a pretty crazy situation. But do you feel like... I actually think the firefighter, Jake, dealt with the situation way better than the cop.
He did, the cop was very emotional. Although he did just shoot someone.
Get that fucking cameraman!
Get that camera on my fucking face!
Jake's like, stroke. It's okay, man. I was there. It was justified. Was it justified or not? Of course it was justified, man. Person was running straight at him. Absolutely mental.
Yeah, we then see... Angela, Scott, Bernard, and Sadie. Sadie and Bernard are like roommates. I don't know. Sadie's an apprentice or something.
This is a weird relationship going on here.
Yeah, she's like looks like his daughter, but apparently is not his romantic lover either. They're just like, I don't know, work colleagues, friends that have shared an apartment for 3 years. He said he's got an old television and they want to go up and see what's happening in the news. And while they're doing this, Randy's like, screw this. I'm going back to my apartment. He gets in the elevator as soon... so the elevator goes up to the second floor, even though he was told not to leave. They get up to... Scott, Bernard, Sadie and Angela get onto the second floor. The door closes behind them, and there's like a rabid dog in the hallway.
I believe it was a wee German Shepherd, I think.
But the noise of the elevator opening distracts the dog. It turns his attention round to Randy, and it jumps into the elevator to maul Randy to death. And while the dog's mauling them, we see... Angela run over to the elevator, and I couldn't tell whether they were trying to get the elevator open to help Randy or if they were trying to keep the elevator closed.
She was trying to get it open. I remember she was trying to get it open. She was trying to pry it open, which I don't really understand. I mean, I know you're trying to save a guy here, but...
I don't think everyone was trying to save him.
She was. I remember her going, we gotta get it open. Bernard's like, no. It's a no to the door being opened, man.
Then they get into Bernard's place. They get the TV working, really old TV. and the people outside, the news reporters, are reporting that everyone has been evacuated and that everyone is fine.
And that's exactly what they would do. That is exactly what they would do. And I tell you what, I said to you during this, bet this has happened in real life to a certain degree.
And obviously at this point we realise, okay, they're covering up here, they're trying to hide something because everyone is not evacuated and everyone is certainly not okay. We then get a pretty really gruesome scene here where George appears and he is up and walking again, and he's walking on his broken leg, and it's almost about to snap off its hinges, from the shin down. It's almost about to snap in two.
Yeah, Lawrence gives him an injection. I don't know what it was, to be honest. I'm not a vet, but you know what? Whatever it did, it calmed him down. So they put him back, put him down on the table. And I think at this point, right, this guy literally just got up and started walking on a leg that was... This guy should not be walking if he's human.
Yeah, that'd be way too painful.
Yeah. And it's not like he was showing signs that he was in pain. He was walking as if there was nothing wrong with him.
No, 100. Well, I think there's definitely something wrong with him, so we'll see. Lawrence is then giving them medical treatment, the cop and the firefighter, and he determines that this could be rabies, although they've never really seen anything like that in human form, and it never spreads this fast. It's supposed to spread in months, but he says that they've shown signs after an hour. He gets asked how to cure it, and he's like, oh no, you don't cure that. There is no cure.
I find it hard to believe that there is no cure for rabies, though. It's a weird one.
So if you get bit by a dog that's got rabies, you're dead?
I think it's if you don't get a tetanus. Because it takes months to develop. It's more when it develops, you're done. I find that incredibly hard to believe.
Same.
Honestly, I do. I'm not... I think that is almost like... It sounds like The Walking Dead, more zombie things. Well, there is no cure for this. You think it's just, sounds surreal. I can't believe that we sit in 2023 and there's no cure for rabies. Because even cancer, right, there is no actual cure for it, I guess, but there's loads of things that get rid of it.
Yeah.
But for this, rabies, Lawrence is nope, you're done for, buddy. You get bit and you're absolutely smoked. So guess what? I think it's time for the CDC to come into the building.
Yeah, the CDC do come in. They're obviously going to have a look at everyone and test everyone and see who can leave and who can't leave. They begin to open up George's head, and it looks like Lawrence was right. They are trying to get a brain sample.
They're not doing blood tests.
They're definitely not doing blood tests. Angela's crew... Fireman, not fireman crew, Angela's cameraman. It's not really a crew, it's a
it's one guy.
I guess it's a one man band.
It's not a collective term.
He is he's trying to video the whole thing, but they're kicking him out, and then he manages to get a wee window in the other side of the room where he sticks his camera through, and all of a sudden he sees George just leap up and bite one of the CDC quarantine people. So he's getting bit. Everyone makes an escape out the room, and they lock the door behind them. But unfortunately, it looks like Lawrence has been locked in there.
Yeah, he gets absolutely betrayed here.
And Jake and the fireman Danny, the policeman Danny's we got to open that door. But the remaining CDC
guy, right? It's no, you can't do that. And then once they don't do that, obviously Lawrence is gone for. He is absolutely dead. He is then confronted, what the fuck do you know? What is going on inside this building? And I want to know, right? Would it have took everyone in this building to get a brain sample for them to leave? We just seen what this guy did. He just fucking drilled the head. See the people that are still alive and not really showing symptoms. What would it have took for them to be cleared? But I think
I guess just being isolated and not showing symptoms for a while.
But like Lawrence said, rabies can take months.
Aye, but like you said, it was only taking an hour here.
Yeah, but maybe some people are different. You would never be sure.
Or maybe
really.
they'd be taken away in quarantine somewhere else.
Maybe they would be, but I would like to have seen what the end game here was for the CDC. But I guess we never really get to see that because this guy's just confronted about everything. And yeah, looked like it was Operation Endgame here for the CDC, wasn't it?
It is. So they want questions. The CDC officer then talks about how there was a dog that was taken into the vet,
showing symptoms of this rabies,
and it mauled all the other animals, and it spread at an insane rate. He gets asked if the dog was called Max. It turns out the dog belonged to someone in the apartment.
Kathy and her daughter.
And it turns out her daughter, Brianna, is also feeling sick. But Kathy's like, no, my daughter's not got rabies. She's just got a little bit of a cold. Turns out, though, that's not true, because Brianna then sinks her teeth into Kathy and then makes a run upstairs. Kathy tries to go after her daughter, but she is subdued by Danny, and he ends up handcuffing her to the railing of the staircase. So they then get told that they have to go. The CDC guy gives them like some sort of, I don't know, vaccine injection and says that they need to inject the little girl with this.
I think it's a sedative, so it pretty much would just enable them, like we've seen earlier with Big Georgie, the fireman. So they go upstairs and they're told, like you said, they're told to sedate her, but as Danny goes closer to her, does that happen? No, because he gets fucking bit too. And Danny the cop goes out like this. And I think at this point you've got to really question, like, you clearly know that it's fucked the situation. We've got rabies infected people running about. Would you really get this close and be like hugging her, be like, it's okay, man? I know she's a little girl, right? But we've just seen all the craziness go on, and the CDC guy explain everything.
Yeah, they should have took some sort of, I don't know, protocol or used some sort of weapon to hold her down or something like this. It's like they were approaching her as if it was going to be okay, and they've just seen her bite her mum, so I don't know why fucking Danny got close expecting her not to bite him.
Yeah, I would actually only say this is probably the only scene where I was like, no, that's probably the only flaw in this movie. Which is good for the movie, though, if this is the only flaw.
Yeah, so she bites Danny, and that's probably the end for Danny, because once you get bitten, you're pretty much fucked, or once you get blood into your system, you are fucked. So that's Danny, at this point, pretty much dead. The rest of the group then flee down the stairs. They're trying to
regroup, but then the shutters are opened, aren't they?
Yeah, and the infected are now beginning to roam free. The infected are everywhere.
The infected are everywhere. Everyone runs up the stairs. You've got Kathy, who's obviously handcuffed to the banister. She just gets absolutely mauled here. Good night, wasn't it? I mean, pretty much. Obviously, I knew what they were doing with her, but if you compare what they did to her to, like, her daughter, like, she was still normal. I know she was bit, but, like, she's just fucking left there to get it.
Exactly.
Then and her daughter, like, 2 minutes before, it's like, you're okay.
Then the two black people get killed by Lawrence because I guess they didn't speak English and they didn't really know what they were doing. And I mean, in this situation, if you can't speak English, you are probably fucked.
Yeah. And, like, it's not even a case of they didn't really speak it. I don't think they understood it either.
Yeah, couldn't speak it, couldn't understand it.
But they died.
And they died.
Understand that, man. Understand that. But essentially here what happens is everyone makes it, not to the roof, but it's it was like a really isolated area, wasn't it? It didn't look like an apartment. It looked more like a bathroom for everyone to use.
Yeah, they kind of got into like a room upstairs. Weird looking room.
Yeah, what would you call it? Not the public bathroom, but kind of is like a public bathroom. The bathroom for everyone to use, I would describe it as.
It was a room. I don't even think it was a bathroom.
No, there was definitely a bathroom.
Well, who cares? That's not important, is it?
I guess you could say it's not important, but the CDC guy is also in here, but he's in one of the other rooms that's situated with this room, and then he's like, I'm bit. So what do? They lock him in his own wee bit. But then Sadie, turns out she's bit.
Yeah, she's bit as well. Bernard's like, oh crap, right, we need to get out of here now. He opens up the window. He tries to, I don't know, signal for help. He says, right, come on, let us out. We need out. Save us. But he gets a bullet to the head for a sniper. So
he does. And I want to point out something as well. Earlier on when they were trying to do a head count, Yuri pointed out that there was someone that lives on the top floor, but they haven't seen them in months. I wonder who that is. Who could that potentially be?
Who could it be?
Who could it be? But at this point, like, the group that felt massive, the like almost like 20 people, has got like 4 people left here.
Yeah, the numbers have dwindled down pretty quickly.
Yeah, you've got Yuri, you've got the cameraman, you've got Jake, you've got Angela. I think you've got some old woman that I don't actually recall her name. Wanda, I think it might be her name. But I mean, I think you've got 5 people left at this stage.
Yeah, the numbers have completely dwindled.
They have, and Yuri is next to go.
Yeah, Yuri goes, and then Wanda goes. Yuri gets attacked from behind and bitten by the CDC officer. Wanda refuses to leave her husband behind, and she gets bit too. So then Sadie But she gets bit by Sadie, who was in the room with them, and then Jake, Angela, and Scott have to flee. So that's it. We're down to 3. The trio then managed to get the basement key because, like I said, Yuri said there might be a way out through the basement. So they get
And
the basement
it was shit
key.
for them though, because they had to figure out which room he was in, so they had to go down to the bottom floor, then come all the way back up.
Yeah, so they had to go down, check the mailboxes, find out what room he lived in, then go back up to his room and find the key for the basement. And Jake here was like the MVP. He had his big sledgehammer. He was taking people down. He was swinging that hammer, and he was basically, I mean, like because you had Angela who was kind of scared, and that's fair enough. Like, and then you have Scott, the cameraman, who, I mean, Scott, he's just kind of holding the camera. So Jake's having to do everything here.
I get right.
It's 3 people, but Jake's the only guy really doing it.
I get right. Scott is the cameraman, right? And Angela is the reporter, so to speak. But should common sense not prevail here and be like, he's a man, we're in a life or death situation here, we need him.
You take the camera.
And hell, does the camera even need to film this? You've already recorded so much.
True, but there is a lot of light on the camera as well, so it's a form of light as well. So
true, but I think in terms of the cameraman, I thought he was quite poor in terms of no, he was a good character, but in terms of like here, step up and be counted for, he was a bit of a bottle merchant.
And the lights did go out as well, so
I
guess they needed the camera from that aspect.
Yeah, so they managed to get into the room now. Let's go back down to the basement. But Jake's like, right, you follow me, you stick close. You are like, yes, Jake, MVP Jake. As soon as he leaves the door, he gets killed. It's like, what?
Yeah, we leave the room and like Yuri just like takes him down, bites him. But what I kind of liked about this was like you felt like anybody could die.
Yes.
I mean, people were just getting killed, like not randomly, but people were just getting killed like in an instant. So it wasn't like, oh, just because you seem like a main character, you're gonna get to a certain point. It's like people were just dying left, right, and center. So you had that aspect of not knowing who was next. But unfortunately, Jake is bitten here by Yuri. I mean, they kind of just leave him, but I mean, this kind of shows once you've been bitten, there's not a lot you can do.
Yeah, they try and run down to the basement, but they're all downstairs. So it's time to run to the top floor, the only room that's really been left unexplored at this point. And she's trying to find the key. There's about 60. It's like a saw trap here, trying to find what fucking key fits the lock.
Yeah, to the key.
And Scott, right? He's not. I guess he's never really got close enough to fight them off because by the time they did get close, the door was open. But
well, he did kill that one person with his camera.
No, yeah, well,
he bashed their brains in, like.
He did, but it's funny. It's like this guy's like not like trying to hold them back. He's just fucking flicking back and forth with the camera. But eventually the door's open and they're in the top floor and it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. Even though they need to get to the basement and they're as far away from the basement as they could possibly be. So they find themselves upstairs in the attic and there's like lots of like paper clippings about from a member that I guess used to live there, from a doomsday cult. And it's like a lot of biological stuff, biological weapons. There was a clipping called the Armageddon virus. A virus that is mutated form of rabies, which is highly contractable and deadly. So, did the person in the attic know this was maybe going to happen, or were they working on this? Are they the cause of it?
I think
is that why the dog got infected?
I think they were working on it because if you look in the room, there's rats everywhere, cages, obviously some form of experiment going on.
So the person in the attic here very well could be the one responsible for all this.
Yes, that's what I'm led to believe here, and that's why we haven't seen them in months because they're also and they must be patient zero.
Keep in mind we did see the cameraman kill a rat earlier.
Yeah, and he's like, it was coming right at me.
And who knows? Maybe the dog, maybe Max came across a rat, and that's how he got infected.
Yep, I think that. Yep.
So this could be where it all started. The attic. We then get a trap door open. A trap door's above, and it opens from the attic. Scott has to put his camera up there.
I tell you what, the heavy breathing would have rivaled Tony Soprano.
And his camera is swiped at by something, so it looks like there is something infected in the attic, and it breaks the light on Scott's camera. Angela's freaking out because they're no longer able to see now. They're completely in the dark. Scott turns on the night vision so that he can see her, but she's still in complete darkness here right now. There's lots of banging noises. The source of the noise we determine is from another infected person who is blindly searching, it appears, unaware that Scott and Angela are in there. So Scott says, look, they can't see us, so we can snake past it.
And it can't hear us either.
But they try and get past, and I don't know what happened, if they stood on something, made a bit of noise, but all of a sudden the infected did turn around and it noticed them. Scott dropped the camera and tried to fight off the infected, but I don't think it worked too well for him because he no longer hears Scott. Angela manages to retrieve the camera, and when she looks through the lens, she can see the infected person on night vision eating Scott. She gets attacked next and again drops the camera, but the camera now is falling on the floor and it is like panned on Angela as she crawls towards the camera. She's trying to get to the camera, but before she gets there, she's dragged away into darkness, like almost like under a bed or something like that. I'm assuming by the same figure that was eating Scott.
And this was the creepiest of them all. And this just looks like this guy's been up here for months, not feasting on anything.
Yeah, and that is how, well, probably feasting on the rats as well.
Yeah, probably just a couple of rats, but he had the build of someone that's not been eaten.
A hunger victim or something like that. And that's how the film ends.
Yeah, very, very good ending. Leaves a lot to the imagination. And, I mean, here, maybe she is still alive. I don't know. I've not actually seen the second one. But for me, it's pretty much everyone that was in this movie is dead.
I think that's how it's going as well.
Because, like, realistically, even if she does survive this guy, I just don't see where she can go.
Yeah, she's trapped. I mean, even if she gets out of the attic, I mean, she's not going to escape.
Yeah, and like they said...
Even if she could escape them all, I mean...
Everyone's been evacuated according to the CDC, so even if she is...
Even if she somehow managed to escape, you just feel like they'd put her down.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they would do. But, like I said, very good movie. I am going to give it a solid...
I'll give it an 8. I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Yes, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. What could they have done to improve it to anything higher? Like I said, I think there was only one real flaw with the movie, and I think it was that scene with the little girl. I think they've just got to be a bit more, like, smarter.
As much as I liked the whole view from the camera, that perspective, I wonder if they could have mixed up a wee bit and just had like more wide shots when they were in like large groups.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And also,
sometimes it was a little bit hard to follow what was going on because of the camera angle.
And also, I think it lacked great characters. I think there was a severe, like, you've got people like Bernard, Sadie, and like Kathy, and like the African couple. It was very. I actually think a lot of the like good characters died quite early. But I do like that fact that here anyone can die.
Yeah.
But again, I think it lacked like a proper like great character cast list, to be honest. But it is what it is, guys. It's an 8 out of 10, and we'll be back very soon ranking every death and every character. We'll be back with that. And where do you think Quarantine will rank at the end of the 31 days? Will it be in the top 10?
Oh, definitely, I'd say so.
I'd probably say top 5.
We'll probably do that at the end of the 31 days. We'll probably have like a ranking system.
Well, we won't need to do anything. The numbers will speak for themselves, won't they?
Yeah.
So until then, peace.